Merc's gameplay because he looked to be pretty wired in with that standing desk. And, well, it's TSM's best map. Oxygen is going to have their hands full for all 3 maps. OXG will be starting on defense. This is something we've actually been seeing a lot of recently. Teams will pick defense for all 3 maps. The other team will start overtime on defense for all 3 maps. That's exactly the case here. If overtime is required, TSM will defend twice on every map. OXG will start on defense on every single map. We'll go through the map ban phase. The 2 attackers are Hibana and Nomad. They have been vanquished from the field of play. Time for the 2 defenders to join them.
Mozzie. Well, all right then. Mozzie as an operator is very powerful. Definitely, especially on Villa. There's a lot of cutoffs you can use his pests for. But I think the most important thing with Mozzie and the reason he's so in the meta right now is honestly just because they gave a 1.5 to his Roni. That's pretty much it. It makes him one of the most versatile operators on defense, and it gives you a lot of fragging potential. Well, Mai will be the last ban, so it's mostly all going to be on Jaeger when it comes to anti-throwable, anti-grenade, whatnot. It's definitely going to make clearing a lot easier. And the fact that Thatcher is still in play is also significant, though he will not necessarily always see play. Last second change there for Chala. He'll switch off the Yana to the Thatcher right as the transition comes in. We'll see if he 6 picks or what's going to happen there. No, in fact, it'll be Achieved on the Buck. Okay. Achieved has not played as much Buck as of late because they removed his grenades. But he was, for a very long time, one of the premier Buck players in North America.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
It was nice to see the way that Buck was utilized in different ways than Sledge, but I think with the kit that we saw out of the Buck, especially having nades at the time, he kind of shoved Sledge down into the we don't really need him category. Now, obviously, Sledge's pick rate has surged since Buck got flashes instead of, or well, I guess technically he always had flashes, but
yeah,
it's flashes are now what people run because you use Buck for utility clearing. And I mean, I think there's a pretty compelling argument that you could make that Buck was a little overtuned and it forced Sledge out of competitiveness. Now, unfortunately, the changes to Buck have largely removed Buck from competitiveness, and Sledge has just completely taken his role. It has forced teams to play differently, though, because obviously Sledge cannot do anything below, with the exception of tossing a frag grenade up to the ceiling above him, whereas Buck can exert quite a lot of influence by being able to shoot you below, and it's changed up the way that teams play in terms of verticality. Now, the word vertical is going to come up a lot on Villa for a number of reasons, but also because vertical's in the matchup, and he was playing over by Study, unsupported as we see the roam from OXG happening. It's a kitchen defense, so vertical is about as far away as humanly possible from the bomb site. He goes for a run out, and he's not going to catch anything and head back in. His position was given away, and if somebody's watching either of the staircases, he could get punished for this. It doesn't appear so, and he'll be able to get away.
Just trying to distract the attack, and, well, mission accomplished for vertical. He'll run on back to site, or at least closer to it, for further distraction and delay. This is a kitchen defense for round 1. Oxygen trying to surprise TSM, I guess. Well, not really. It's not that shocking, to be honest. Trying to get the edge, I suppose you could say. Right now, the attack is solely focused on clearing out the top floor. They want to get top floor so the Buck can start opening up from above and apply some sight pressure, move those anchors into uncomfortable positions. You guys and gals know the drill. Chief is going to be doing just that now, is he'll start opening above Slash. But as you can see, Oxygen is far off the site, and they're all going to be in retake positions rather than exposing themselves to the holes that Achieved is opening.
Villa is a matchup Villa is a map where the matchup is going to be a little bit slower paced unless teams take a very deliberate effort to execute quickly. It didn't work out so well when OXG was on attack, trying to take up ground quickly on coastline, and ended up paying for it. We saw 2 very hasty diffusers planted the very final 2 rounds of the matchup, and they got punished for it both times. Here we have Bolo in the wild punishing vertical, and a run out from Slash will catch Merc. Poor timing from Merc, but Slash gets away with it. He's still stuck inside a bicycle, and if he tries to get out through Memorial or through the window, somebody could very easily watch. And there you have it. Chala was on Slash duty. He finds him and is successful So up Chala will continue to push. Down goes Fox A and TSM are sweeping through right now. Well, it's Laxing and Bio in a situation where with 30 seconds left, they'll have to stop the TSM Tides from crashing against their shores. They start off by picking off Geo. He had the diffuser in hand, so it'll have to be juggled over to Chala, leaving Bolo and Achieve to cover as best as they can. No Nitro Cell, no anti-plant right now for anybody on OXG. Unless a Maestro Cam can tase you away, you're going to have to go for gunfights here. And there you have Laxing swinging away, doing damage, losing the fight to Chala. He attempts the plant. Bolo and Achieved will have to watch, and there you have it. Bolo, who started things off, will also finish things. Round number 1 goes to TSM.
Well, good execution there from TSM, but most of that comes down to the timing of the retake from Oxygen. As I said at the, I guess the start of the contact by site, Oxygen was set up in a retake position. They had one anchor at that time. You could see they opened up a lot of walls that you typically wouldn't see opened, especially by tarps or memorial. So what happened? Well, Oxygen tried to retake their site before TSM was fully committed to the push. TSM waited, and as the retake came out from Oxygen, these defenders, they get mowed down in their rotations. Now, man advantage, firm control for TSM, and the laundry breach. Everything's going the way of the attack. You take that and roll it straight into a round win. I gotta say, well done to TSM for I guess a very patient assault. Oxygen, just a little bit too, I guess, fidgety on their retreat back into the site. Or not retreat, but rather retake back into the site. The timing just ended up being against the defense. We'll see what Oxygen can change now that they've gone to a very different bomb site, Aviator Games. This is a more typical one, I guess you could say. It's really all of the bomb sites on Villa have proven themselves capable of being successfully defended. But we do see Aviator still quite a lot. More than Kitchen, I would venture.
Yeah, I mean, the one bomb site that's fallen out of favor that we talk about a lot is Trophy Statuary, and Kitchen has risen in prominence, which is basically the same bomb site just down below. Obviously not identical, but plays out similarly enough. And a lot of teams will still defend Trophy Statuary if they are actually defending the Aviator bomb site, or if they're defending Kitchen. They'll still play out of the location of that Trophy Statuary bomb site, even if the bombs themselves are not there. And it's because it's a very crucial part of the map to hold. Number 1, you can drop quickly and then patrol that bottom floor. You have access to the stairwells relatively quickly, including Astro Stairs if you need to retake. Astro Stairs does tend to be a bit of an afterthought for a lot of attackers when it comes to flank routes. It also allows you to control Master Bedroom, and you can get back very quickly to either 90 or towards Classical. Rather, Study. And Classical is where Slash is going to play. He's on main stairs, watching intently with a Melusi nearby. This is a common spot to play off of. It gives you a lot of control over what's below. All it takes is one explosive to finish off that Banshee. Bolo happens to have 2 of them at his disposal, but he needs to be wary of whether there's an ADS in play. There goes the Banshee, and there goes Foxay as well. And now Slash too, TSM. All the confidence in the world so far through these 2 rounds. There will be some return fire from Biologic from above, who chews through 80% of Bolo's HP, but can't secure the kill. That's a missed opportunity, so now it's Laxing's turn to watch that same avenue. He's in a position to do some more damage. If Bolo contests this, he could be in trouble. Vertical falls, so it leaves Laxing and Bio left on site alone. Bio will head up over towards Study to watch that doorway, as not a soul has been lost for TSM, and Laxing will have to find 5 of them as Bio bids adieu. There's Laxing to fight with Geo. He hits the deck, but a flawless round for TSM will be round number 2, and they are up 2-0.
Well, it's worth noting here that TSM is not doing anything unusual. They're not doing anything special even. They are executing very standard. A very simple take from Study and down below to top main. All the while on that take, Oxygen throwing bodies at the problem, as we so often see them do, and losing those fights, losing manpower advantage. TSM take full advantage of that, and flawless round, I guess. It's a surprising result, I guess, that it's so one-sided, but it's still impressive nonetheless. My key takeaway from all of this is, as it was with round 1, now again with round 2, the patience on TSM is just really impressive. I would expect most teams in situations that TSM keeps finding themselves in to, I guess, get a little bit more aggressive. Why can I not word? Aggressive? It's a good thing I'm not paid to do this. And, you know, try to force their advantage more than TSM actually does. But, no. TSM is, I think, casually strolling over the finish line, and it's working for them.
10 seconds left before insertion.
OXG have 2 kills through 2 rounds so far. I mean, I think that tells quite a bit of a story here. You can see this every day. TSM has 2 kills on every player.
Oh, wow. We can call that 2 team aces, can't we, Parker? We can call that 2 team aces, can't we, Parker? I know it probably wasn't like that.
I suppose you can. I mean, I don't think there was a team ace on either round officially.
But it'd be fun to say that.
But it would be fun to say that. And you know what, Michael? I will allow it. I'll allow it.
Good.
I'll permit it. Now, if you're watching this matchup, by the way, a matchup that doesn't really have any significance or impact outside of some money, and who goes in second and who goes in third, as these teams are going to face each other in the mini-major, regardless of what happens here, our next matchup actually has some pretty high stakes. We know that the Sonics are going to be in the mini-major quals. We know the same of SSG, and we know the same of Mirage. There was only 1 slot remaining, and it will go to the winner of the next matchup, which is DG versus E United. Whoever prevails in that match will be competing for an opportunity to go to the mini-major in just a couple weeks. There'll obviously be something on the line with that one, so make sure you stick around to watch it. E United has been on the upswing. DG put up quite a fight against the Sonics. I was very surprised, in fact, as I thought the Sonics were going to win that matchup with not quite as much trouble, so stick around for that one if you're a fan of either of these teams.
Yeah. Now, in this match here and now, it still seems like TSM has full control, but at least in this round, Olo once again put too low HP, and this time he hasn't managed to get a kill before it. So Oxygen in a decent spot. You can see they're playing very passively. There is an attacker inside of Study, and Slash might not be aware of that. It's Merc. So in that position, he can definitely punish the Smoke, who's leaving himself exposed to Study. But the timing is bad, and Oxygen will win 2 fights. 1 for Slash, 1 for, I believe, Laxing. Bolo and Achieve go down, but at least top floor control, or top stairs control, is established for TSM. As they peek into books, Merc will get another as well. Even man count now, suddenly. TSM rally back into this round. Oxygen desperately trying to regain the advantage, but at this point the control is lost, and with the attack still having 40 seconds to execute, they're not feeling too pressured.
Vertical will try to toy with Merc, who has been exceptional so far. He's been one of TSM's better players over the last couple games, and he's showing exactly why. His entry's been very strong. The Valkyrie will swing out, try to pressure Chala, as Laxing is playing in front of that Goyo shield. There's no explosives remaining to take out the Goyo shield, barring an Ace throwing a Selma at it, but I don't think that's the intended location for the gadget. Hitting the gas barrel will be Laxing as he tries to fall away. The fire will consume Geo. Laxing credited with that kill. Bio doing as much damage as possible. There goes Chala and Merc in a 1v3. No time left. He's not going to move. Might as well save your stats. He'll finish with 1 death as nobody from OXG can find him in time. Oxygen's very first round will come in round number 3. They've still got time to turn this one around, but they can't be forfeiting many more rounds to their opponent in this first half.
Okay, so once again, TSM, a very standard execution. But as I'm sure many of you noticed, the largest difference in that round was that Oxygen played really passively, like crazily passive. They forced TSM to take the initiative in every single fight. And because of that passiveness, Oxygen actually won the first set of gunfights, established early man advantage, then TSM rally back, and it's impressive, but at that point, the momentum is lost for TSM, the key fraggers as well. Oxygen managed to lock out the round. A great job for them. But you know what's not lost? At least not yet? Your opportunity to pick up some of the R6 shares skins and support the Rainbow Six Esports platform as a whole. You can find them very easily in the Siege shop in-game under the Esports tab. And It's a great way to pay into this awesome esports scene that we all enjoy.
10 seconds to go.
That was a good one.
Thank you, Parker.
I really do think we nailed the 2 transitions today so far. You know, I think we'll reflect on this broadcast as the pinnacle of our our pivots. So production, it only gets worse from here.
Yeah, so going downhill.
Yes.
I can't wait. Oh, we're gonna come up with we're gonna come up with some real bad ones in the future, I bet.
Oh, we got a brainstorm.
Yeah.
No, we just habitually get closer to the line until eventually we step over it, and then we get a very stern message being like, "Hey,
Stop it."
don't say things like that on the broadcast." You're like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." But, all right, round number 4. As now we will pivot from the wonderful R6 share skins, which TSM has one of the nicest skins in my opinion, which is the Zofia one.
I mean, you can't dispute it. They really do. It's one of the.
It's quite nice, yeah.
It really is.
And now we'll pivot from that to round number 4, which is
We're gonna get dizzy, Parker.
a bomb site that isn't really that unorthodox, even though it doesn't see a high rate of play. It's the library living room, for people who can't pronounce the first word, alternatively known as the library living room. So it's very interesting the way that teams decide to take this, because usually what they'll do with most defenses being hunkered down over Memorial or Kitchen and then playing above, teams are going to try to sweep through Kitchen and then take the 2 back paneled walls that are leading into the living room portion. Merc, I don't know if he saw that Slash went for the jump out, and now Merc will be in the living room. So right where those 2 paneled walls are, though, there's a rotate through gallery, as it's referred to as. Heard people refer to that as vault as well, but it's not vault. Anyway.
There's already a vault. It's above that one. And yeah, gallery is more appropriate. Now, top floor control here for TSM. Despite the man disadvantage, they're going to be able to do some work with that. There is still a roamer upstairs. I believe that's vertical. He's playing through the vault holes. See, there's a different. It's yep.
Right.
And he's going to be able to control a bomb site from there. There's a lot of great long angles you can use from that position. Likewise, Slash C4 goes out to the wall that has been breached. Nothing gained from that, though. He will get Bolo as he peeks, and there's a flank coming out here. A third for Slash in the site, who finally gets shut down, but he allows for Foxay to pick up Chala, leaving Just Achieved upstairs. Alone against 4 with 30 seconds, it doesn't seem likely. Achieved will go for a drop to try anyway. Heard, and he lands the shot onto Bio. Flicks around and misses his shots onto Foxay, who will shut him down. Oxygen, take round number 4.
So this is going to be a close one. Just as Coastline went, so goes Villa. TSM started off with 2 rounds, of which one was flawless, and then Oxygen answered back with 2 rounds of their own. Opening picks going in favor of OXG for both of them. Same here. TSM started this map off with 2 rounds in a row, one of which is flawless. OXG answers back with 2 rounds of their own, where they get the opening picks. So history seems to be repeating itself right now, and if history continues to repeat itself later into this map, well, then it'll be a 2-0 for TSM, as some of the analysts had predicted right before we headed into Villa. We'll see, though, as it's another kitchen dining room defense. This is where OXG started. And they dropped this bomb site, did not come back here until now. If they are successful, they won't be able to go back here yet again. At the tail end of this round, Aviator will open back up. It was a bomb site that OXG dropped the first time, made some swaps, and actually did very well on that 3rd round, which is what sparked this comeback, if you want to call it, from OXG. Nothing looks to be that weird for the way that OXG is going to be holding this bomb site. As we noted previously, with Trophy and Statuary being the location of the roams for OXG, though the bomb site itself is not up here, the bombs being down below it mean that if you want to hold that top floor control and force the attackers to commit a lot of time, drones, and gadgetry to flushing you out before they can try to pull off the objective, then they're going to need to wrestle that part of the map away from you. That's why OXG has so many forces upstairs on that 2nd floor.
That's Foxay in vertical, to be precise, but Slash is assisting from below, using his heartbeat sensor to call out TSM's positioning. Try to gain an advantage for his roamers. as well as possibly C4 someone from below. That's always an option. Geo called out on the balcony there. Jaeger well aware. Vertical will rotate. Foxay trying to hold on to the bathroom. This is a very precarious hold, but he can work some magic with this. Stun's going in to establish there is no ADS, and well, that's not laxing, or that's not Foxay. It's laxing to pick up that kill, but still, I'm sure an impressive one, even though we didn't get to see it. Vertical holding inside of Trophy. He'll have a long angle into Master. He's still very exposed there. You can see the attack is trying not to waste any explosive on the shield, but they're gonna need to if they really want to make the push by bathroom. Could be one of the Selmas from Geo. That is an option.
Bomb located by attacker.
Lots of information being relayed there by Chala. In the same fashion as Slash can relay with his cardiac sensor, except for onto gadgets. Vaults into the bath, or rather the closet, and Vertical and Foxay have been kind of corralled into Astro. This is very dangerous. Down goes Vertical and Foxay. TSM get the clear on the top floor and are not punished in the slightest. At least not just yet.
It was exceptionally well coordinated, with one sweeping through Trophy, one sweeping through Statuary, the other sweeping through Bathroom. You might be able to take one of them down, but you're definitely going to get traded off very quickly. Just as Laxing trades off Bolo, albeit a few seconds after the action had occurred, leaving us into a 3v3. The one thing is that on that interaction and that entry from TSM, they didn't lose a body in the process. They were able to punish both Vertical and Foxay without using too many gadgets, just a single drone, all while evading the pulse of Slash. That cardiac sensor should be calling for it, and there was obviously a restlessness from the two members of OXG, and that anxiety is what pushed them to take the engagement, knowing that they'd have to fight their way out. It was the smart call from OXG. They just lost their gunfights, and they got pinched in, well, one of the most efficient ways possible. So with 30 seconds remaining, TSM will have to go for the objective play, which will be in the hands of Geo, meaning that it'll be a 2v3 as Geo is immobilized for 7 seconds to get the diffuser down. This could be potentially tough, as there's a C4 in the hands of Bio. Not much else, though. So Bio's attention over towards bikes, where Chala seemed to be flirting with pressuring on. Bio could jump out if he wants to. Achieved will be first one in amidst the smoke. Geo going for the defuse. Have to see if Bio can toss out the nitro cell. He will. Gets punished by Achieved. The Buck is hunting for kills. Looking one way. There's the pulse. Damage being done. Achieved 2 kills, 3 kills. The kill feed is achieved. The round is TSM. The lead is TSM's. They're up 3-2.
Beautiful round there for Achieved, and well, the entry all in the hands of the Buck. Right time, right place, and Achieved does not miss those shots. That's a 4K for Achieved overall in the round, and a beauty as well. Now, that's why Achieved play is on Buck, by the way. I think we've seen some of the best performances from Achieved on Buck, on Villa in particular, and we're seeing one of them here. It's awesome to see, as it is so rare these days, given a Buck's scarcity as an operator after his nades were removed. Now, Oxygen had a chance at winning that round for sure. The time was starting to dwindle there for TSM, and despite those picks upstairs, Laxing was giving a real fight to TSM. Just as Bolo appears to be giving us rehost here. Sounds like a sound bug there for TSM, so the rehost will be called. The first one of this series. Yeah, there was a chance there for Auction. Laxing definitely put up a fight, but in the end, Achieved was the gunner to win it out.
Yeah, TSM, they were really fine through most of that round, and that was honestly, that was a textbook round for time management. You have to give them a lot of credit for that. Number one, they managed their time and entry successfully upstairs. Yes, they forfeited the very first pick of the round to Laxing, but then they were able to claw it back by the way that they attacked bomb site that would be Trophy Statuary that's above the actual bomb site of Kitchen. So you go above, you hunt down the two players that are up there in both Vertical and Foxay. The Goyo shields don't do significant damage. You walk away relatively intact, and you do so quite briskly. The moment that that was called, TSM goes back onto drones. They try to see if there's anybody else playing off the bomb site, because there are still 3 members of OXG that you need to find. They determined that there's at least 2 in the bomb site. We can get back down and begin to go for the execute, which is exactly what they do. They hunt down the location. They lose 1 player, puts it into a 3v3 with that time left. and they realize that they have to only one opportunity. They clear out Memorial. They see that Bio is playing in their solo. He's kind of trapped, and you've got Chala that can swing through bikes if needed. But Chala decides to double up with Achieved, where Achieved will look towards bikes. As the wall inside of Laundry gets opened up, smokes go out to confuse OXG, and the only person that's going to be able to call anything is going to be Slash on that cardiac sensor. It looked like he was trying to scout out the location of the TSM members, but the range in the cardiac sensor is only 9 meters, which means that Slash is going to be trying to determine where the diffuser is going down. All the while, he's going to be defenseless. So he puts the cardiac sensor away. Inside a kitchen, he swings over towards the main doorway of Laundry, and with Laundry wall being opened up, OXG seems to think that maybe the diffuser is being planted by the bomb chassis. Bio's the first one to fall to Achieved, and then the 2 members of OXG that are caught off site, one of which being Laxing, who was playing over by Astro Stairs in the hallway, the other of Slash, who was playing inside of Kitchen over by Pantry, while they have no choice but to try to retake. And at that point, it's a 3v2 as the diffuser's already gone down. Geo is off the plant, and there's 3 sites aimed at 2 ways back into the bomb site. Unless you manage to land your shots, which it looked like the Pulse almost did, there's no hope for OXG. And I gotta say, I was extremely impressed with how TSM were able to clear out that top floor and then immediately hit the bomb site. They managed the clock very strongly. They didn't waste too much utility, and they didn't waste their lives in the process.
Definitely was an impressive feat for TSM. And, you know, as much as that entry from Achieved was pretty solid, there was still a chance that it could have swayed back in my mind. Mostly comes down to the perfect timing for Achieved, the right place, right time, and the great awareness on the drones and from the holes that were opened up above prior in the round, because they knew where those defenders were going to come from, and they knew exactly what they were going to be dealing with. Now, we do have everybody in the lobby. We're just going to have to double-check the settings before we actually get things underway. Got to be sure that there's no mistake when rehosting these lobbies. I know many of you older viewers who've been with us for a long time have seen instances where we rehost and everything's ready, and we go back in and the settings are incorrect, and we have to do it all over again. So we got to be extra super duper careful. We seem to have everything correct, so we will get right back into this action. The score will pick up where it left off. TSM in the lead 3-2. The first half just about to end. The final defense for Oxygen, unless we get overtime. And it'll be Aviator Games, the site that is chosen by Oxygen for the last bastion. Of course, this is a fight to have that even round count transitioning to the second half. And if TSM is able to take this one, then it will likely be indicative of the final result.
Attackers need to locate.
Yeah, if TSM ends up coming away with a 4-2 lead on Villa in the first half on a map that they're obviously very well favored on, OXG not having the best record on entry and opening duels, which on attack is very critical. I think both of those things don't bode well for OXG's chances. I mean, I think that that first map was critical to determining what happens here, because if OXG wins their map, you assume TSM's going to win theirs, and then we have a very exciting clubhouse as our third map. But right now, even despite the scoreline, it doesn't seem that likely that we're going to need a third map, at least where we are between these two teams. That's just us theorizing. Obviously, we can eat our words and be proven wrong by the play that happens in the server. We'll wait and see. As the very final defense for OXG is going to be over on Aviator Games. So as I had said at the start of round number 5, when they went to Kitchen, OXG had Aviator opening back up for that 6th bomb site. They could have gone to Library or Statuary, or they couldn't have gone to Library Statuary. My apologies. They could have gone to Trophy Statuary. Library down below and Living Room was out of the equation. So Trophy and Statuary was open, but it has not been in the rotation so far for OXG. It is the one bomb site that has not been played. So despite the heavy emphasis on that part of the map for the players that are roaming, is not going to be a spot at which OXG wants to defend. TSM could have an opportunity to do that, but let's see. Let's get to TSM defending first.
Seems like it's all going to be more of the same here from TSM. They're not doing anything crazy. Your bog standard, study, top main execution. We've seen this time and time again for TSM. It's been hit, it's been missed. It's all going to come down to the gunfights over by top main. Which way those actually go will probably determine the round. But look at that. Vertical downed. Not actually by top main. He'll be nearer the site. Looks like he was trying to peek outside through the game's window. And he gets saved there by Biologic. But the damage is done, and he'll be on low HP for future engagements. TSM being very patient here on the top main execution, but they also have to consider their time. The execution must come out eventually, and sooner better than later. There it is. Merc takes down Slash as he enters into study. Bad timing for Slash to reposition. Of course, he had no way of knowing, but that's just sometimes the way the dice roll.
Kind of surprised he wouldn't have expected anybody over by study. That's a heavily contested part of the map, and the door had been broken sometime sooner. Fox a Nitro Cell to take out the Goyo shield and open up sights beneath him as well, but it'll also claim an ADS. So that was a lot of needless destruction caused from that single Nitro Cell when a bullet would have sufficed. Regardless, it's still a little bit of the map that Fox A has been able to reclaim to a certain extent, as down below, Achieved is going fishing through these holes that he has created above him. He's going to see the Malusi, but just narrowly avoid her for about a minute and continue to break away. And he's going to find Bio in the process. Bio, of course, needing to move in that spot. Both he and Fox A are dedicated to playing down below. And there you have it. Achieved is clobbered by Fox A. The wall and the safety just to the side of the bar inside of Games has been taken out by the Selma. Fox A could swing out, and he looks to be doing that. He'll engage with Bolo. That's a rare fight that people win, and no, Bolo wins it all the same. 15 seconds remaining, 90 control still held for OXG. Bolo losing the fight to Vertical, Laxing winning his against Chala. Bio now down, and it's a 2v2. The clock working very much in favor of OXG. Geo will have to go for the plant, but where are his teammates? Down goes Vertical, and there's Merc to swing. He'll clean up onto Laxing. The final defense for OXG breaks in favor of TSM, and they'll take the first half 4-2.
What a big round for TSM. I love the way they played that. The clock was running out, and you saw Geo starting to plant, but he thought better of it. He knew he had to take the engagement with the player at 90, because look at this. Merc is deep inside of Games. Merc is not going to be able to stop that 90 push. So it's either Geo wins that fight or TSM loses the round. So Geo, with this in his mind, makes the quick decision to get off of his plant and force the engagement with the player at 90, landing the headshot, winning the fight, and the round by extension. To add insults to Oxygen's injury, Merc also wins his one over by Games, and that means Geo doesn't have to pull any extra weight by planting the diffuser. Very well played there for TSM as a whole. The execution, while it was rushed because of the limited time, everything was executed flawlessly for TSM. And yeah, there were some lost engagements, but no serious mistakes made by the attack. Oxygen, likewise, though, had a very good defense overall. While they did lose it, I still have to commend their performance in that round. Came close to victory. In the end, they just couldn't manage it in those final two gunfights. So, 4-2 half for TSM on attack of Villa. This is less daunting for Oxygen than it would have been in times past. Oxygen losing the defensive half. It is still, or rather, Villa is still, I guess, fairly defender. Well, it's not defender-sided, actually. It's 51% attacker-sided. It's a 49 defensive win rate in Villa overall. And after this match, if the record continues, if we get a 4-2 half from Oxygen, for example, then that will get even worse for Villa. The very played map, but it's starting to stray towards attacker-sided, ever so slightly.
Stats back that up, yeah?
Yeah, 49% defensive win rate.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty razor's edge. There was a period of time where
it's very close.
I think it was back when we had the start of the six, or the start of the what was it, the 6-map pool?
Yeah.
What we found was that every single map was defender-sided except for one that was at 49-51. So about as close as you can get. Merc engaging on defense, he get traded off right away from Vertical, but he takes out Biologic in the process. Bio on Zofia, that is a lot of soft destruction that is gone. Good news for Oxygen is they have quite a lot to spare. Sledge, Ash, and even Jackal with that secondary shotgun in a pinch can do some work to tear up floors, to tear up walls, etc. So the end isn't near for OXG just because they lost the Zofia, but obviously that's a pretty damning operator to be the first one to go out. Additionally, TSM with Merc, well, he's probably the least in terms of utility because he's purely in a fragging sense. And I'd say that the goal for Merc has been met.
Yeah, he's done his job, and even though Vertical did get that refrag, I mean, the time wasn't wasted, but the 1-for-1 going the way of TSM I think overall that gives a little bit more advantage to the defense. I think there's always a slight edge with even man count if it's less than 5v5 to the defense. And I think it comes down to fatigue. And also the time that each gunfight commands. What a shot from Achieved! Foxay had the edge in that one, and he let it slip out. Geo will also win his fight versus Laxing, but all the while, Oxygen is keeping up. Slash will take one down. Did get him to half HP, but this is still very winnable for the attack. Great timing there for Slash on the peak, and it looked like a C4 actually covered Slash as he went through the rotation. TSM now even man count, but once again, with 30 seconds left, this should favor the defense.
All they need to do is hang on, but they are starved of that secondary utility. But the one thing Bolo has in his hands is essentially wall hacks. The ability to see the cardiac pulses, whatever you want to call it, of your attackers. And those heartbeats are going to get ever closer over towards Memorial as Vertical as well as Slash will go to charge on in. Flashbangs going out, smokes as well for Slash as he rushes in. And they're going to have to take gunfights right now. Great play from Vertical. He should be able to get them both, and he will do just that. Bolo shutting down Slash, but OXG managed to go against the grain and take out the final two members of TSM to claim their first round on attack.
Great round there from Vertical. He not only got the refrag at top main early in the round, but managed to clutch up on those final engagements late in the round. You love to see players who can take it all the way from the beginning to the end and get the win. So, many accolades there to Vertical. TSM as a whole played that round, I'd say, what's the word? It's structured is an appropriate word, but I want to say standard? They knew that they had the advantage in the man count, and with the way that the gunfights fell, TSM was aware that they could take that and turn it into a round win by simply waiting out the attack. But there's sometimes these rounds that play out almost too passively for the defense because of the advantage there that they are aware they wield. And it can often force the defenders to be tamer than their natural selves. And that's how I would describe the defense there for TSM. Tamer than the natural state of TSM's hold. They were trying to win it on time. They could have certainly, but that risk leaves opportunity for Oxygen to take the initiative and just win on those fights, which is exactly what Vertical did. So well played to Vertical reading the room and taking it. TSM, you could say they need to be more assertive, but it's so abstract, it's really hard to put a finger on.
A bomb has been located.
Stack up on the stairs, pretty common stuff for TSM now as we're just into the beginning of the action phase here on round number 8. Oxygen can tie this one up with a successful take onto the Aviator bomb site. Or games, I suppose. Aviator Games, of course, being the official title. Late setup from TSM, as I think they're still trying to determine where OXG is going to come from, and OXG's focus is on study, so the south side of the building, rather than taking from Master, Trophy, Statuary, and moving over, and then taking 90 and onwards. So TSM's entire focus will be on study. The likely person from TSM to get pushed back first will be Chala. Merc will likely die on the stairs unless he can somehow get away. He'll probably have to swing his way out of that position. And, well, Chala's at least there to help him to a certain extent. And there we go. Burning the ADS as Merc is playing behind this angle as he jiggle peeks around it as best as he can. ADS has now eaten the Zofia launchers, both explosives. That is pretty bad utility management from Bio to not have cleared that out beforehand. It also means that the shield that Merc is playing behind is going to be relatively safe. You'll have to use one of the frag grenades from Foxay to take care of it, or a Selma from Slash. There's the grenade in hand for Foxay. He gets swung on, a double kill for TSM. The grenade, in typical martyrdom fashion, will eliminate Merc, but TSM still with a lead of 2.
See, we were talking about being more aggressive earlier, and I guess Merc must have heard that because he just took the fight. While Oxygen's trying to play the utility game, Merc saw the opportunity and seized upon it. Now, TSM has the man lead where it would have been a 5v4. It is a 4v3. Well read there by Merc. Hard destruction going towards games, though. TSM going to need to start to set their sights on these breaches. Chala has 2 to deal with, and that's not going to be easy for him. Gas canister going towards Books, and that'll delay for a decent chunk of time. There's only 1 gas canister left in the pocket for Chala, and he'll have to pick between one of these 2 breaches. And it's not even going to delay for the majority of the round. He's still got 40 seconds for the attack to continue to open holes. Chala is really stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's forced to win his engagement on the west side breach, and he has no chance of turning his barrels the other direction. He'll lose the fight to Vertical, who rushes in, but it costs Vertical his life. Engagement will ensue. It leaves both teams an even man count. Geo, though, in vault, has got good positioning. He can do some damage from here. Bolo in the hallway will be shut down, but Geo will lose the fight with Laxing, letting Oxygen take the round.
So good stuff from OXG on their entry. And yeah, we are very much looking at an attacker-sided Villa so far, as it's 6 rounds in favor of the attackers, just a 2 for the defense. And there have been a number of rounds where it certainly looked like the defense were going to hold off. In fact, both rounds 7 and 8 so far seemed like, until the very last moment of the round, TSM were in the driver's seat. On that kitchen defense down below, it seemed like they would have enough to be able to stop it, especially since a 2v2 with time left on the clock and diffuser in hand means that it essentially becomes a 1v2, as your diffuser planter is unable to do anything for 7 seconds. And the coverage from OXG has been excellent so far. The way they were able to control that part of games, the way they were able to control Memorial and then turn that into a dining room take as well on the previous round, were both pretty much flawless in the final 10 seconds of the round on both accounts. Breaking in favor of OXG so strongly is going to be a significant confidence boost as well. Teams have obviously had issues working in tandem with one another, especially on the entry. We saw it on Coastline, and now we saw it to a certain extent on Villa, but for OXG on their 2 attacks, they have been much tighter. And I don't know if that's just maybe they needed some time to warm up. I'm not entirely sure. But both opening picks went to TSM so far, and yet those stumbles for OXG haven't mattered. They were able to either trade it off immediately or swing the round back from a 4v5 deficit.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by Oxygen's tenacity. You know, you see moments like the one that Merc brought out there, and yet Oxygen still wins it, as you said. That's something, right? That's something impressive. So we'll see what Oxygen can muster now that they are attacking from Master side onto, once again, an Aviator defense. Bolo will be roaming over here, side of Trophy. Achieved is there to support from the Astro Stairs. We'll see how much they can do together. Droning just beginning for Oxygen. We'll spot Bolo's little setup and call it out. It'll be something that Bolo will need to confront shortly. Swift taken from Vertical. He knows that Master is fully clear, but he's still got his gun up just to be careful. Wary of any potential traps that TSM may have laid in his path. One Selma being used over on the other side of the building from the site itself. That's good utility burn, if nothing else, from Bolo. And as Bolo hears the Ash charge, he'll be like, yep, nope, I'm out of there. Job done. Not necessarily time wasted, but at the very least, tons of utility wasted.
Merc is playing with 2 ADSs, watching Study as OXG. Instead of attacking through Study, you're going to attack through the opposite side of the map. This was something that was touched upon in the previous round, where we had speculated as to where OXG would come from. And you can very much take Trophy or Statuary after you get Master under control, and that's the focus for OXG right now. If TSM reads into this, their focus will turn towards the doors of Vault and over towards the top of Red Stairs, which is what appears to be the play right now, as Chala's going to watch that angle through a tiny portion of the wall that's been opened up. Merc can hang on to his spot where he is at the top of main stairs, because if need be, he can head through Classical Hall, and he'll also have a line of sight all the way towards 90. And even though he's only presumably got the holographic on that gun, Merc is very much capable of hitting long-range shots, so it wouldn't put them at that much of a deficit.
Walls getting opened up into the gun vault. Merc is trying to shift his focus here from top main control, which is not being pressured, to 90 control, which is well in hand for Oxygen. Just making these attackers think twice about whether or not they can peek this west hallway. As the attack gets set up for the execution to the site, there's nothing going really either team's way, as both have been relatively passive on the angle play. And here comes the rumble as Oxygen starts to pressure into Aviator.
They're doing so at the top of landing, with Slash being the first one to head in. Chala trying to do as much as he can. He's got 1 toxic canister left, but Slash will still win that one out by punishing Geo. First opening pick for OXG on attack. It comes at a great time. 30 seconds remaining, and Slash with that kill will now need to get the diffuser down. Nobody's going to eat out any of that smoke. Slash destroyed from the back as there's a flank, but it's caught by Vertical. Unfortunately, this little move right here and Laxing joining the fun means that OXG are going to be a little bit starved for time. So Chala swings out. Now he's got a shotgun in hand. They're going to line up. He turns, but he gets caught in a cross by Bio. The return to the bomb site will now need to happen from TSM. Bolo with 2 kills. Diffuser going down. Nitro Cell eaten by Bio, and he's inside a study. Diffuser goes down successfully. Bolo taken out. It's Merc in a 1v2 post-plant. He's going to have to find the 2 members, and this is where things are going to get real challenging. He goes for the disable. There's going to be pressure from inside a study. Does he hear it? He's going to get shot away. Doesn't know it. OXG takes the lead, their first lead of this game, and they have 3 rounds in a row to their name.
Beautiful execution there from OXG. And remember when we talked about how maps that typically don't matter that much, and teams can come in to be jovial and fun about it. Remember when we said that those can sometimes get really serious the longer they go on?
Oh, it's serious.
It's getting serious. As you can see by the play being displayed by both of these teams, they're starting to get a little bit more invested into what's actually happening, into that round outcome. A lot of snappy gunplay, a lot of well-refined control being established by the attack. So let's talk about that. Let's dissect it from Oxygen there. Yes, they used a lot of their utility on the master side of the building, but they very swiftly, as I mentioned at the time, and I'll reaffirm now, they very swiftly cleared out the roamers on the north side of the building. That was Bolo, who got forced back to site. So utility used, yes, but the time wasn't wasted that much. And because Oxygen was allowed the control all the way up to landing, they were able to then start to shift some of their weight to study. Now, this was key in the outcome of the round. The presence in study for Oxygen won them the round hands down because it gave an ever-crucial crossfire in the Aviator bomb site. I'm sure most of you noticed the many times that TSM tried to force control of Aviator by simply rushing up close and taking the gunfights with the attackers who were positioned on landing. But that was halted time and time again by that study presence. So, because of that little extra bit of time, 20, 30 seconds that wasn't wasted on the master side of the building, study control was allowed before the attack, and the round ultimately was won off of that. What a run out from Achieves. He'll take down the sole hard destructor, Slash, and I bet you Slash is thinking, what is he doing?
TSM have really lost the plot so far with these 3 rounds from OXG, so anything to get them back in the game is going to be welcomed with open arms here, as there have only been 2 bomb sites so far that have been defended by TSM, as this is a second crack at Kitchen. The 2 times on Aviator did not work out in their favor, and now they're hoping to turn the tide and tie this one back up, if not match point for OXG with 2 rounds remaining, and a good spot for OXG to be in, given what we know of right now, with the attackers doing much better on a map like Villa. So, well, there's still a minute left, other than Slash dying, and I mean, that's your only hard breacher. That's pretty good, if you think about it. There's your opening pick that you needed, and it's on a very important operator. Bio had died earlier on in the previous round, and we talked about how Zof could be quite influential. I mean, Ace is even more so.
Yeah, Ace is right now hailed as many as being the #1 hard breacher in the game, and he's seeing a nerf in the near future, at least the one that is presented on the test server, that has his Selmas with only 2 charges instead of 3 per set. So he's still got 3 Selmas, but they only extend 2 times. So it's 2 little rolly things instead of 3. I think it'll place him well between Habana and Thermite in terms of hard destruction prowess. But he's still probably going to be a really popular operator. We'll see if Vertical checks this corner to his left, where Achieved is sitting in wait. I don't think he's going to expect this. This is a really odd play from Achieved. And, okay, he doesn't even get an opportunity to check the corner, as he'll be killed from, I guess, above. I don't know who got him, but it was Merc. Oh, sorry, I don't know where from, but it was Merc to get the kill. Chala also gets Biologic. Foxay and Laxing now in a 2v4 as Laxing picks up Achieved in the hallway. So that position is red by Oxygen, just by Laxing, not Vertical.
These 2 working together were successful against Dark Zero. If they can translate the same to TSM, then this round will go in their team's favor. If not, it certainly seems like a tie matchup. 20 seconds left, so not a lot of time, and more ground to cover than they'd ever had when they were attacking on Cafe against DZ. Laxing and Foxay now at arm's reach. So they'll have to head into kitchen. Laxing takes some damage in the process. There goes Bolo. So Laxing is still in. Foxay finds Merc. Laxing gets dropped. It's all of a sudden a 1v1. Geo versus none other than Fox. And they'll have to find each other with 1 second left on the clock. Fox is going to get slowed down. He won't get it. Time goes in favor of Geo. That Malusi Banshee ends up saving Geo as he plays peekaboo inside of Laundry. And we've got a tie game yet again.
I know a lot of people in chat right now are probably having the discussion of whether or not Fox would have been able to make it in time given the Malusi gadget, or if the Malusi gadget were not there. I don't know. That was real close, Parker. That was it. Oh boy. It definitely could have happened. Foxay might have made it had the Malusi not existed. But the next question is, would he have won the gunfight? Because that is definitely a disadvantageous gunfight to take. Even though you can predict somewhat where the Goyo is going to be, you are at the disadvantage taking that one, and odds are your Goyo is going to win the fight. So, a real valiant effort there from Oxygen. From Foxay and Laxing in particular. You noted how that was probably the closest we've ever seen those two players in a clutch situation. 15 seconds left. They have to hit the site. There's almost no chance. And yet, they bring it to a 1v1. That really is something. And with 5 more seconds, the result might be called into question. But those seconds weren't there. And that was thanks to TSM's great roam and delay, as well as their early gunfights won previously in the round. I gotta say, though, the fact that that 4v2 came to a 1v1, that is scary if I'm TSM. That does say Oxygen is much more in this than it might seem.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to win this one out. It definitely seems like the tide has turned and is very much in favor of OXG, but it could just be that because they're working well with the map, being that it's on attack. And we talked about how the attackers have been so good. That was only the 3rd successful defense through 10 rounds. Not exactly good numbers. And Merc being hunted down from above, he manages to get away, wasting 40 seconds. As OXG tries to enter against him and can't get him in time. Given the way that Merc has been playing, wasting time will be the name of the game for the Vigil, who's now over by Kitchen, and he'll head down towards the basement, a seldom used part of the map outside of flank routes. And flank is exactly what Merc will try to do, as Oxygen have gotten that control of that 2nd floor. Ooh, this is going to be a library living room defense. So the 2nd floor over by Trophy Statuary, not as integral as you would think. We talked about how you want to take those 2 panels as an attacker over by the kitchen doorway, and well, I assume that's going to be the focus for OXG.
That's going to be the first casualty here, technically, as Merc goes down to Foxay, bringing us to an even man count. For those of you unaware, we are too deep into the action phase for anything to be changed, and the game will have to be played, or the round, rather, will have to be played out. We'll see if Slash can make it back into the lobby before we have to rehost, but that's not going to matter. If we get to that point, we will, of course, once we, once the admins call all that stuff. ADS shot out there, and that's going to allow Foxay to throw a nade down, but there's nobody playing underneath him, so no damage done. Geo has the information, and he lands the shots. 2 for Geo before he's finally shut down by Vertical, who has been overall one of the refrag kings of this lobby. Slash has made its way back into the lobby, so well done to Slash. We don't have to do that rehost, at least not yet. But TSM has the man advantage now. And in 5-5, this round means a whole heck of a lot. Whoever wins it goes on to that coveted match point position where they can relax just ever so slightly. TSM seems likely to take it, but the backpack gives away the Maestro, and Vertical will land the shots onto Bolo through the floor. With 30 seconds left in a 2v2, this could go either way.
Another position where TSM should be able to anchor down this bomb site, but it didn't work in round 7. It didn't work in round 8. It did work in round 10 just by the hair on their chinny chin chin. As there goes a Nitro cell, but Vertical's able to evade it. He's going to have to take this gunfight as Achieve just playing around at the barbed wire. Gives away the position, and he gets fed right to the T5. Bio trying to take control of the wall. He's next in line. He finds the Malusi. He gets both! How does he spray them down? What a shot! OXG is obviously very startled with this one, and somehow, miraculously, OXG takes the round.
The transfer from Biologic. What an absolute gunner. TSM presenting the targets and Biologic accepting it. The man's been getting a lot of flack over the last few matches, and I think it can now be put to rest as he single-handedly saves the outcome of that round thanks to blunders by TSM. Oh, well, that surely was something there, Parker, wasn't it?
I think Chala was inside of the bathroom and he just sprayed against the wall after Foxay and managed to kill Chala through the wall. That's what I think happened. I mean, we need to see an instant replay slowed down. Because I don't think Chala was in that position. I am very confused. And with that, OXG has now almost certainly guaranteed us Clubhouse. The problem for TSM here is that on a very attacker-sided map, if TSM ends up winning this round, they'll then have to defend twice again. That is a daunting prospect, given what we've seen out of the defense so far.
Yeah, it certainly would be. If we come to that point, TSM, I gotta say, on defense, they have been letting it slip by a little bit too much. They have been. They should be winning a lot of these rounds. That last round definitely should have been a TSM round. There's too much of an argument against TSM's particular chosen style of play. They definitely didn't need to take either of those fights. With the limited time that Oxygen had available, with that Biologic had available, there was every opportunity to just wait. So really unfortunate some of the positioning we're seeing from TSM, some of the play. I think that they know it at this point. I would hope that they're going to start correcting it. As I'm sure it's pretty evident to everyone now that this match has become a lot more serious than everyone thought it would be going in. And Oxygen really wants it. They're out for blood.
Yeah, what was pretty much a, well, not a super serious game to start off with on Coastline has very much changed in the opposite direction now, and there goes none other than Chala as OXG just annihilates him. A refrag from Merc, but Slash is in on the fun as well. 1 minute off the clock and already 3 people dead inside of the lobby. Make that 4 as now Bolo peeks out. And Clubhouse is almost a certainty between these two teams. OXG stunning TSM on that previous round, Bio in particular. And it's now set them up for a much more confident set of play here on this final round. Geo shooting into a body, but he's going to get punished by the ace. It's all on Achieved's shoulders. Out goes a Nitro Cell. He misses 1, sees the ace lined up. He picks up 2, but he'll need to reload. There's somebody below and another to his right. Being picked away! Achieve takes out Laxing, and it's him versus Foxay in a 1v1. Achieve sustains a lot of damage on that nade through the floor. He's also got the diffuser as well. If he has that information at his disposal, this could be a massive challenge for Foxay. Achieved will need the clutch of his life, as it's him versus the sledge and a tiny bit of HP for Achieved versus a fully healed Foxay. They're going in opposites now. Achieved is just trying to waste time playing around as many structures as he can to try and keep Sledge from doing anything. Firing against the wall. Very tense moment right now. Achieved lighting him up. Foxay knows how close this one is going to be. The match on the line. Achieved still firing away. He's got plenty of bullets. Up he goes, just narrowly missing his shots onto Foxay. He's feeling it right now. Foxay will just stand pat for the time being. Maybe try to draw out Achieved. As he shoots through the wall, if he gets lucky on this, it might be enough to drop Achieved, who will head through the vault, and he might see the barrel of the L85. This is a prolonged battle. There goes the Goyo shield. He gets it! Good God, Achieved! We are going to overtime. What a clutch for him! 3 more rounds at least, maybe 2 more rounds. Who knows? Villa's not done yet.
The game sense on Achieved, his awareness of what fight must be taken at what moment. Impeccable is the only word to use to describe that. Foxay, a valiant effort, but you can't fault the man for losing that one. You said it yourself, Parker. Achieved was on one. The man shutting down Oxygen single-handedly, not almost, but absolutely single-handedly. Overtime on what has been one of the most intense maps of this stage. What an interesting one we have on Villa here. That round, just, I think, absolutely Oxygen's. I think we can say that. That's pretty safe, right?
I cannot believe that Achieved clutched that. Yeah. I honestly, I cannot believe that.
And neither can Foxay. I think the whole lobby is flabbergasted, as I would assume are most of the viewers, except for the...
We just had 2 unbelievable rounds back to back.
Yep.
2 unbelievable rounds in a row. What the hell is that?
It's been some good stuff here. And I'm glad we got the opportunity to see these teams go head-to-head in this kind of an environment. You know, the interesting thing about it, we gotta have to ask the question, why? Why is this happening in this kind of a match of all? And I think what it comes down to is the lack of pressure that these teams must feel. Yeah, certainly, they are motivated. You can tell by the way they're playing. They clearly, both squads, want this dub more than you might expect. But the pressure must be lighter than usual because the way that everyone's playing, it's almost as if they aren't feeling the weight on their shoulders. As if Achieved is able to do everything he thinks is necessary and he's never second-guessing himself. And it's beautiful to watch because we're seeing it across the lobby.
I mean, it's on now, just for bragging rights. Biologic swings and wins the round for his team. Achieve does the same thing now. It's going to be egos. It's going to be hubris. We had talked before about how this match had tightened up, but now it's personal. So how much are they going to be able to get out of it? We'll see. TSM back on defense, as we noted. 1 minute off of that very first clock, and Merc is playing upstairs on his usual old self on Vigil, playing a bullet hole next to a reinforcement. He gets droned out here from Biologic. He could possibly get caught upon. He has to worry about getting pressured from bathroom. Sherdley hears the sound of the window getting smashed by the sledge, and he'll take the drone down with him. Bio is now in on it. He's been pretty good through those last couple rounds. Merc is still on this panel, waiting to see if somebody's going to come after him, but he needs to watch multiple angles on his own. Merc is wasting a ton of time, and he'll drop off as Foxe finds Geo, maybe not the target that OXG was looking for, but that's a huge opening pick. So they've been able to take out the Goyo. That's a nitro cell potentially as well. That's removed. Still 3 explosives in the hands of Achieved, Bolo, and Chal. With just under half the round to go.
Top floor control established for Oxygen. There is a pulse in play here, so the attack needs to be careful where they step. The soft floor is very dangerous, almost lava-like. C4 number 1, I believe, there will be pre-placed on the ceiling. That's by Chala. Bolo's going to call that out. He's got the heartbeat sensor right underneath it. It's detonated, but it's placed incorrectly in the wrong room, in fact. Foxe is not that big, and he'll go ahead and persist inside of bathroom. A double retake into the red hallway. This is dangerous for Achieved, but they want to regain the man advantage. They'll force their way up the Astro stairs in a moment, just a moment, probably. You can see Biologic hears the footprints underneath him. With only 30 seconds in a 5v4, this is going to be absolute chaos when it comes to the actual execution. Foxe gets kill number 2. The push-up Astro is poorly timed by Achieve, and it looks like Oxygen is going for a full sweep. It's a flawless round in the end. All gunfights going the way of Oxygen, and we are 1 away from map number 3.
Well, that's a statement to answer a statement to answer a statement from these teams, as a flawless round has not happened since round number 2, and you've got 2 extraordinary clutches with an utterly dominant push from OXG and TSM seemingly not realizing OXG's positioning whatsoever. That's the unfortunate falter for the TSM fans, but OXG will now need to go on to the most challenging of the 2 sides, defense, to try to lock this one out. If not, we might have all 15 rounds between these teams, which would be very fitting for this map.
It would indeed. I think I want a map number 3. The way that Villa's been playing, I want a map number 3. Coastline was kind of an afterthought. It really wasn't instilling a lot of like, oh wow, cool. But this has been some really intense action, and I hope we can see it persist, just for our sake. Of course, TSM doesn't want that. They're looking to lock this out, but now they have to win 2 in a row to get there. The first step is winning an attack onto Living Room Library, which is not an easy feat. In fact, statistically, this is one of the better sites out there. Not the best, with a 53% success rate for the defense, but certainly better than sites like Trophy's Statuary, which has a terrible win percentage of 32 for the defense. It's actually what's been dragging down the overall defensive win rate for Villa overall. So that's part of why it's not getting played anymore. Oxygen will be roaming above to try and hold this site, and that is par for the course. Standard fare. It'll be a lot of time wasted when the attack attempts to clear these roamers upstairs, and possibly even some casualties inflicted by Oxygen. We'll see when the actual take plays out.
All right, well, I also would like a third map now, which means that now that I've said that, it's probably not going to happen. Sorry, OXG fans.
Follow the script, TSM.
Yes, I want to see Clubhouse, and I want to see how this transfers over, because obviously Coastline is a very punch-heavy map, and now you've got Villa, where, well, you're just simply looking at a much more strategic map that's getting played kind of like a free-for-all, and right now OXG seems to be the team that's capitalizing off of it the most, even though they only have a one-round advantage. So Clubhouse obviously will be far different. It will be just as strategic as Villa, maybe a bit more routine, though there is roaming potential we've seen, especially out of this region of NA. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still plenty of time left, and TSM could find themselves with an early stumble as Merc will enter through study and take a lot of damage in the process.
You can see that Vertical has been spotted behind the model there. He'll fall back as a result to landing. Just trying to stay alive as long as he can and delay as much of this time as possible. C4 used there on the 90 repel, but it does nothing. Biologic now. Utility-less. He will now be just a gun and a shot that could be landed. Damage done here for both teams. Laxing low as well as Merc. The study take is not working out so poorly for the attack, but because of these mute jammers stopping the Selmas from detonating, it's going quite slow. Luckily, Thatcher is not banned, and Biologic is about to be forced out of his position, whether he knows it or not. There's the rotate over to the study door. Dangerous, but he's got a shotgun. This is the best kit he could have to hold this doorway. Timing is all that's really going to matter. Shotgun goes out, shots landing, Geo low on HP, but so is Bio. Slightly more, but both of these could die quite easily. Foxay is going to be the one to get the kill, though, and another as he cleans up Chala and achieved. The back and forth ensues as Geo finally picks up a kill on the top floor, but it looks like it's all but over here. Oxygen with a significant man advantage, and they'll force it out. Pushing through the breach is Laxing. He picks up one before the last. Bolo now has to do it all with only 35 seconds. He doesn't even know where his opponent is. Shot's not landed there on the Valkyrie. Pistol out there. Deagle does a lot of damage, but not enough to one-shot. Bolo, a nice headshot there onto Laxing. Top floor control established. He has the diffuser as well, but only 20 seconds to make this happen. A fake out with the impact, thinking he might play on the vertical holes, but he's going to confront the site directly. He's got to force it out. Roamer inside a piano. He hears that, goes for the fight, but the timing is so off. This is truly unfortunate, and he'll lose it out to Foxay, who does a little bit of taunting before finishing map number 2.
And that's it. OXG stealing Villa away 8-6. Not as close as you would have thought after that Coastline brawl. And Clubhouse still on the docket. We will have a third map. Michael, I feel like we had a lot of 2 maps with you and I together. That was an impressive showing from OXG. TSM very much in control the first half side swap. And well, they both go 4-2. A very attacker-sided Villa. And then a lot of mistakes from TSM through a couple of those later rounds, and I hate to say it because you don't want to take away the successes of OXG. But TSM got a little sloppy on a couple rounds, and OXG punished them every single step of the way. And sure, you got to give credit to OXG for being able to capitalize off of that. But at the same time, TSM shouldn't have been making those mistakes. They shouldn't have been going in solo. They shouldn't have been making hero plays. They shouldn't have been acting off of limited intel. It worked for a little bit, but ultimately ended up being their downfall. That said, we got a break for you. We got analysts for you. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.